think someone wants to go outside real quick. So I'm going to run this. And I'm going to go and we'll dive into the debates of last night.
With the highlights, good morning, John.
Good morning, George. It was a loud and chaotic debate with Donald Trump a no-show here at the Reagan Library. The other candidates spent most of the time going after each other, but at least a couple of them took their shots at Donald Trump, too. About 10 minutes into the debate, two of the candidates who were on the stage aimed their fire at the candidate who didn't bother to show up.
Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight. He owes it to you to defend his record where they added $7.8 trillion to the debt. That set the stage for the inflation that we have.
Chris Christie taunted Trump over his refusal to debate.
Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record.
Yeah, bro, he's afraid of being called Donald Duck. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I couldn't. I had to. I know. Spoiler alert. That was the big fire line from this fucking dipshit. But God damn, it's just like the absolute worst. The absolute fucking worst. Oh, God.
You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
I mean, come on. It's just like, it's over. It's so Jover. It was never a thing to begin with, but it's more Jover than it has ever been, okay? He's literally fucking SNL, man. He's doing SNL commentary, man. That's a fire line. What do you mean? You're crazy. Oh, God. Oh, my God. There's no way. People are memeing, right? Chat, please tell me people are memeing in the chat and they're not being serious when they say, nah, that was fire. This is straight up. This is like if you are running in the Democratic primary. Like this is the kind of corny shit that you would pull off if you were running in the Democratic primary, okay? That's what he's doing. It was fire if you're a 3-year-old? Yeah.
But that was the only mention in the entire debate of Trump's indictments. And there was no mention whatsoever of this week's ruling by a New York judge that Trump's company had committed widespread fraud. It was an unruly debate with the candidates often talking over each other.
This isn't productive.
I want to hear about that.
Let's have a policy debate.
What's going on?
The moderators repeatedly had to plead for the candidates to follow the rules.
We cannot talk over each other. We must respect each other's time.
Businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, who harshly attacked his rivals in the last debate, tried to play nice this time.
These are good people on this stage.
But the others weren't buying it.
We think about the fact that Vivek just said we were all good people, and I appreciate that because last debate he said we were all bought and paid for.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
It's just everyone's a liberal too, by the way. It's just even if you are advocating for the most ruthless, reactionary, fascist policies, because everyone is aesthetically a civility lib, everyone is saying it in like the same exact ways where it's like Mexico is doing a bodies in spaces and the narco terror that our American citizens have to endure is actually quite traumatic. You know, we're experiencing PTSD from this, and we are going to need to retaliate in this regard because, you know, they're infringing on our liberties as Americans. And it's shit like that. It's all just like fascist policy wrapped up with liberal aesthetics.
Took aim at Ramaswamy for joining TikTok, which is owned by a Chinese tech company, after once calling it digital fentanyl.
This is infuriating because TikTok is one of the most dangerous social media apps that we could have. And what you've got, I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say.
Haley also sparred with fellow South Carolinian Tim Scott, who she appointed to fill a vacant Senate seat when she was governor.
12 years. Where have you been? Where
I
have
voted
you
no
been,
on all.
Tim?
I voted on
12
most of
years.
those things.
We've waited,
I have voted
and
most.
nothing has happened.
Here's what you've
12
done.
years.
Here's the thing that I just find it.
Trump spent the evening in Michigan speaking to workers at an auto parts plant, but he clearly, George, had the debate on his mind, telling
Why is a British foreign man a judge on this debate of national importance? I mean, you also had, luckily, the Univision person as well. So, Fox. I mean, I'm glad they had the Univision lady on because she actually did she asked like really good questions. Not that they answered those questions because, as I say all the time, it's not about like good things for Americans. It's like if you are running in the Republican primaries, your position has to be, I am going to do all the bad things and I will never allow the good things to happen. Okay? So even when they're like asking serious questions, they immediately would just like resort back to psychotic perspectives.
workers, quote, that the candidates were running for a job in his future administration or perhaps auditioning to be his running mate.
Well, I guess I wonder if he has a point there, John. I mean, you look at the debate, and I wonder what the point of this debate is. If, with the possible exception of Chris Christie, right there, one mention on the indictments, no mention from the other candidates about the indictments, the civil lawsuits, the incendiary rhetoric where he's making death threats against people like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
I mean, Christie did take him on some of the substantive issues, took him on crime, on border, on his record. But it was remarkable how Trump basically got out scot-free, no major attacks on him from the other candidates besides, suggesting that he should have been there. The Trump campaign, for its part, has called on the RNC to cancel future debates and focus on Joe Biden. That's not going to happen. The big question is whether Donald Trump will show up at any of these.
And I think we know what the answer might be. Okay, John Carl, thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking.
CNN anchor reacts to Pence's cringeworthy debate moment.
The worst of their members and defending them.
Why are they not reacting to Chris Christie's most cringy debate
Rather than
moments?
advocating for our kids. And when you have the President of the United States
God,
sleeping with a member of the teachers
Donald
union,
Duck.
there is no chance that you can take the stranglehold away from the teachers union every day.
You mentioned the president's situation. My wife isn't a member of the teachers union, but I got to admit I've been sleeping with a teacher for 38 years. And so full disclosure.
Not allowed. Not allowed. It's done. It's done. It's over. You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. It's really fucked up.
No. Let's bring back the panel. Alice, Doug, Margaret, Shelby are here. Margaret, I think we've titled this Black Most Cringeworthy Moments from the debate. I can't. Why are they talking about education this way?
To be honest, other than that,
I mean, what else are they supposed to say about education? Like, everything else they said about education other than, like, Joe Biden is fucking his teacher wife, okay? And unionized teacher wife. And I'm fucking my non-unionized teacher wife. The rest of the conversation literally was like, we should just kill teachers. Like, if you're in the Department of Education, we're going to fucking hang you, okay? Like, that's the level of commentary we're engaging with. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. That's not what they literally said before you fucking go, actually, they didn't say that. But, like the final outcome that they're looking for is just, like, blowing up the building that has the Department of Education in it.
Cringeworthy moment. To me, the cringiest part was just that everybody was yelling at each other. And it's like, hey, this whole group of 7 people is all trying to break through and displace Trump, and nobody's doing it because they're all yelling at each other.
Have you said who you think has the best chance to win if others drop out? Oh, dude, I have no fucking clue. I guess maybe DeSantis, but I mean, he's looking like the main guy in the polls, but I don't think that he has the best shot. Nikki Haley. I genuinely don't know what will happen if Donald Trump drops out. Like, I just have no idea. It's chaos.
I found it really hard to watch for the duration because of that dynamic.
Yeah, Shelby Talcott, weigh in on that. Did you have the same impression?
It was distracting. The entire debate was just largely people talking over each other. And the moderators at one point said, hey, listen, when you guys talk over each other, nobody can hear anything. And that was completely accurate. And so you ended up losing a lot of whatever they were trying to say because there were 3 or 4 people talking at the same time. And it was kind of a mess. It was kind of sloppy. And I think that they lost a lot out of it because of that.
One person I kept hearing try to get in through the chaos was Tim Scott. It seemed like he was trying really hard to make a bigger impression. And one of the criticisms of him after the last debate was that he frankly missed an opportunity. He may not have made mistakes, but he missed an opportunity. Did he take his opportunity this time?
Well, I think nobody worked harder to insert themselves and unfortunately unsuccessfully than Governor Doug Burgum. And, you know, Doug's got to work really hard to be successful at some of these things and really speak out, all Dougs. But clearly, Tim Scott showed a lot more fire than we saw in the last debate and throughout the campaign. His campaign was saying this was going to be a big night for him, and it was. But again, we have to remember, what are these candidates running for? My prediction for Vivek after this is we're going to see him doing commercials on buying gold or sleeping pills or things like that, not as a serious contender for a cabinet position or president.
It really it is fucked up that they did not do the Survivor bit. Like, why would you not talk about who you would write off the island, man? And then you left it up to fucking Christopher Christie to be like, Donald Trump. Fuck you. God damn it. There was like one good moment there and like they robbed it from us. Ron DeSantis, you fucking piece of shit. Just no fun, no riz, no charisma, just an awful, annoying, smarmy, childish little baby. Okay, he was like, no, I do not want to have fun.
This nomination is not about who comes and rockets into third place after this debate. It's about who can take on Donald Trump, if anyone, and we're still looking for that person.
I have to say there were a lot of My Pillow ads throughout this Fox Business debate. So, point interestingly taken. Alice Stewart, I think this is probably going to be our final word on the Tim Scott, Nikki Haley question. This is a little bit behind the scenes, but when I talk to my sources, there is a lot of bad blood between those two camps right now. And I think you saw a little bit of that on the stage, too.
We saw a lot of bit of that on the stage. And look, Southern hospitality was out the window with the 2 candidates from South Carolina. It was astounding to see. But clearly, Tim Scott went after her for gas taxes in South Carolina when she was governor, and she went after him for what she says he hasn't been able to do in Washington. It was shocking. But again, a lot of bad blood, and they put it out there for all the world to see. But she really held her own again, as she did the first debate with Vivek Ramaswamy. And let me just say in closing, I think one of the best tweet responses to this was from Mark Caputo from The Messenger. And he said, find someone who loves you as much as Nikki Haley hates Vivek Ramaswamy. I think that pretty much sums up her performance on the debate stage.
And by the way, Casey, the dynamic that we saw last night with Nikki Haley and Tim Scott is very reminiscent of Jeb Bush versus Marco Rubio. It's personal, it's state politics, it's about appointments to Senates and loyalties.
Earlier tonight.
All right, let's actually hear from the voters.
Scott Jennings
went silly enough to watch this. Hold on.
Out of his way to underscore the degree to which the campaign from here on out is all about Iowa. Iowa, he said, is everything. With that in mind, CNN's Gary Tuckman in Nevada, Iowa, with voters who watched the debate. Gary?
Anderson, we're 110 days away from the first nominating caucuses here in the state of Iowa, and we have come back to the Hawkeye State to talk to Iowa voters who we watched the debate with. And we're actually in the same county we were in last month, watching that debate, Story County, home of Iowa State University. We have some Iowa State people here because we want to see how their thoughts compare today to how they compared last month. It's nice to be here with you again. Thank you for inviting us. First thing I want to ask you, if you had to write a headline about this debate, what would your headline be?
Shit show.
Republicans angry that they agree with each other.
Okay, you're talking about the commotion there. Yes?
I'd say a really good night for the free marketplace of ideas in the GOP.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Those words, you should be punished for those words coming out of your fucking mouth, dude. I swear to God.
Yes?
Rude Republicans.
Rude Republicans. Did the commotion, the chaos bother you during the debate? Raise your hand if it bothered you. Raise your hand if it was okay. Okay, you're a lone opinion right there. What I want to ask you is this. When we were here last month, I asked the question, who do you think did best? Ramaswamy came in first, Haley came in second, DeSantis came in third last month. This month, who did you pick last month?
I picked Haley last month.
You picked Haley last month when you were here. Who did you pick today?
DeSantis.
Why?
I feel like he represented himself well, and he did a lot to show that he is a true winner that he could win a general election.
How about you? Who did you pick last month?
I picked Haley last month.
And this month?
Haley as well.
How come?
I honestly think both Haley and DeSantis had excellent debates, and I think a lot of Iowans are up for grabs right now, and I think DeSantis has long been looked at as the main alternative in the race, and I think the fact that she has strong favorability, polls the best against Biden, had 2 strong debate performances, and when people meet her, they like her, and so I think that'll give a lot of folks a reason to look at her, so I just think she'll see a large boost, but I also think DeSantis did himself well tonight, too.
Last month, who did you pick?
Haley.
And today?
Haley.
And how come?
Every single time she went to the debate,
she's the fucking GOAT, dude.
She was realistic, she had the facts, and she was strong. She showed what a true leader does, and she takes control. And I like that about someone who's running for president. They are someone who can exhibit a lot in themselves, and that's what she did.
And last month, who did you pick?
Vivek.
And today?
DeSantis.
How come?
I thought that DeSantis, because Vivek won the last debate, and I think that was the overall consensus, he was the target tonight. And so I think that took a lot of the personal attacks away from DeSantis, and he was able to speak to the issues more than everybody else. So I thought that was important.
And I think what's interesting about this group is of these 18 people, 16 of them are undecided. They don't know definitely who they'll caucus for come January. 2 people have made decisions. This gentleman right here, who have you decided on?
Doug Bergman.
Okay, so you like Burgum. And you?
Ron DeSantis, military veteran to Iraq.
Okay, and what's interesting is none of you are ready yet to vote.
Ron DeSantis didn't talk last night? No, he did. He did. He actually had, I think the second highest talking time. But it is interesting because he talks a lot in these debates, and yet he has, very little memorable moments. I don't know how. I feel like he has a way of saying a lot and still, coming across like he's not saying too much, I guess.
To caucus for Donald Trump, the former president of the United States. Something that was brought up quite a bit tonight by Christie, by DeSantis. Is Donald Trump disrespectful to Republican voters like you for not being part of these debates? What do you think?
No.
Yes. No, yeah. How come? No.
I just think that, it's his decision. It's a personal decision. And I think
You're asking a bunch of Republican voters who, listen. Americans have like a cuck coefficiency, okay, that is significantly higher than the rest of the world, okay? It's how much cuckening and cuckoldry you will withstand without actually pushing back, right? In comparison to other countries, America has probably the highest rate of cuckening and cuckoldry that they will take in comparison to other nations. But ultimately, I would say that Republicans especially are the largest group of cuckolds. Cuckening isn't a word? Well, it is now. And the reason why I say this is because, they regularly vote against their best interests, even when Republicans are openly stating it's against their best interests, right? So, for that reason, asking Republican voters, prospective Republican voters, Donald Trump didn't attend the show. Don't you think that that's fucked up? Is never going to yield the responses that, normal human beings should give to that question, which is like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up that he doesn't think it's like, he's not taking this shit seriously enough. They're going to say, no, it's best for him. He told me it's the best thing to do. I'm going to shut the fuck up and I'm going to listen. That's what they do. That's what Republicans do. So why would you ask him that question?
He feels like he has a lot of people that just know what he's about. He's been here several times. He's done several rallies. He's done lots of interviews. And so I think he probably feels like that kind of takes the place of him having to be on the debate stage. And I don't think he feels like he has a really good shot with what's happened in the past.
Would you like to hear him talk about the abortion issue, for example?
It bothered me, the abortion issue that's come up. Yeah.
That he wasn't here. Okay. What about you?
I think it's disrespectful that he didn't come to try to earn Iowans' votes, because so many people's votes are still up for grabs here in Iowa. And so not coming to try to earn that with the other candidates.
Yeah, this is the one way to trigger an Iowa voter, by the way, is to make it seem like Iowa doesn't matter. Because, like, this is the one thing they have. Okay? Iowans are so goddamn annoying. Like, voters in Iowa are so goddamn annoying. This is what these motherfuckers are up against. Yeah, more Republicans see Trump as a person of faith than Pence and Romney, dude. Republicans, 53% of Republicans say that Trump is a person of faith. 14% of Democrats say that, and 19% of independents say that. When you ask the percentage of Republican voters who said, "Is this person is this political figure a person of faith?" 53% said Trump is, 52% said Pence is, and 35% said Romney is. Care to question why? Evangelical Christianity. Evangelical Protestantism declares Mormonism to be an aberration, an affront to God, devil worship. That is precisely the reason why Mitt Romney, despite being probably one of the more faithful people in Congress, like genuinely faithful people in Congress, they do not consider him to be a real Christian, because evangelical Protestants think Mormons are devil worshipers. That's right. This is also part of the reason why I say they would never in a million years vote for Vivek Ramaswamy. They fucking think Mormons worship the devil. Like, you're out of your fucking mind if you think they would vote for someone who is even outside of the Christian faith. Okay? I personally believe the reason why evangelical Christians think Mormonism is like bad is because they're jealous. Okay? Mormonism is the superior form of American Christianity. They believe that America is the chosen land by God. Jesus Christ is actually blonde and blue-eyed, literally did not allow black people to be a part of the religion, and thought that all evil came from being black. And when you were punished for your crimes, you would become black. Like, it is the most fundamentally American religion you could have. It literally centers around American exceptionalism, American individualism. Mormonism is the American religion. So much so that the American government aggressively pursued them for wanting to do polycules, which is really fucked up. Okay. I'm sorry, but that's not Christianity in any shape or form. Who's to say? Are you Joseph Smith, our holy Lord and Savior, who happened upon treasures left by God in upstate New York in a fucking backyard? No? Well, then shut the fuck up. What are we talking about? Trump himself has noted his policies benefited social conservatives. Oh, for the record, if you are confused, you're like, okay, well, you know, they think Mormons are devil worshipers, so they don't think that Romney is a real Christian or a real person of faith. Okay. Then what about Michael Pence? Mike Pence is a real person of faith, and I mean that as a pejorative, in a negative, okay? So why is Donald Trump considered to be more of a faith, by more people, a person of faith than Mike Pence. That's because, once again, evangelical Christianity has nothing to do with Christianity or following the good book or what the Lord teaches. It's about doing pain to your enemies. It's about vanquishing your foes, okay? There are demons everywhere, left and right, and we must vanquish them. And Donald Trump does so much better with the spiteful nonsense, despite the reality that everybody fucking knows deep down inside that he does not give a single fuck about religion. That's it. That's literally it. That's what evangelical Protestants want, and Trump gives it to them. Okay? It's great. So yeah. That's what's going on here. But this also personally, I think, shows, for me at least, this shows that, like, they don't give a fuck about anything, dog. It's all vibes based. It's all vibes up and down, okay? That's it. Well, let's get back to this.
I think is a sign of disrespect, and I don't think he earned anyone's vote by not coming.
All right, here's what I want to ask, a show of hands now. Okay, I'm doing alphabetical order. Who you think did best during this debate? All of you. Burgum. 1. Christie.
Wait till he finds out there's a current Mormon in chat. Me? What do you mean? I got no issues. I don't give a fuck.
Okay, so his toughness didn't appeal to anybody tonight. DeSantis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Haley.
Bro is literally in the polycule tweeting or twitching at me. You know what I mean? He's like, man, listen.
All of you. Burgum. Okay, I'm doing alphabetical order. Who you think did best during this debate? All of you. Burgum.
One guy? Where are my burger maniacs at? Where are the burger heads at, dude? Are you fucking joking? Dude, he had it all, man. He fucking shut down the Latina lady over and over again in, like, a very racist way, in my opinion. Like, so much so that it like, after the fourth time, I was like, okay, this has got to be racist, right? Like, he just kept talking over her. Like, he just was like, listen, I'm from North Dakota. I've never seen someone that's not white. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I don't understand what's going on.
One. Christie. Okay, so his toughness didn't appeal to anybody tonight. DeSantis.
Oh, his toughness didn't. No, he's just fucking. He's a loser, man. Thank God Burgum actually squeezed out the Christie lead there. Respect for the Burger Maniacs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Haley. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pence. Ramaswamy. 1. Scott. All right, so it looks like DeSantis, the winner in this room. Who do you think this was a bad night for?
Pence.
Pence. Why are you all saying Pence?
I think he completely destroyed his credibility. He was directly questioned on his record during the Trump administration on, I forgot what issue specifically was brought up, but he had no defense that they had campaigned on, again, I forget the issue specifically,
Obamacare.
and he didn't.
That's crazy. There is no better representation of how vibes-based this shit is, bro. He doesn't even fucking know what it is. He's like, I just don't remember. Like, he just did a bad time. He just did a bad job responding to a question. I don't even remember what the question was. I just remember how it made me feel. Okay? And that's kind of true for a lot of stuff in the political realm. It's just people just remember how you made them feel. Okay? Everything is vibes-based. They don't give a fuck about the issues, dog. No shot. Plus, why would you really? Why would you give a shit about the issues? Because you're voting for the Republican in the Republican primary. Like, If you actually cared about the issues, you would just not vote in the Republican primary at all. You would just not vote for the Republican Party in general. You would probably not even vote for the Democrats, let's be real. But, like, you definitely wouldn't vote for the Republicans, right? So dumb.
But Obamacare, yes. They didn't follow through with that, and instead of answering the question that was given to him about why that wasn't followed through, and
I would follow up with this fucking little shithead about what he thinks about Donald Trump then. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's not like Mike Pence, he's the VP. So what do you think about Donald Trump not following through on Obamacare? He'd be like, I like that he didn't do it.
will he do differently as president himself? He just went off about something completely irrelevant and never answered the question.
A lot of you raised your hands about Pence. Who else raised their hand about Pence? Why do you think that?
Well, I think that he comes across a little bit like not very believable to me. He's rather pious sounding in his manner.
He's too religious for people to literally perceive him as like a real person.
And it makes it come across like, I'm just a politician trying to get your vote, and it doesn't seem as believable as he could.
So the final question, do you think this was good for the party, this debate tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone have a problem with the debate, with the commotion? You?
Well, it's not with the commotion, but I think the...
Oh, one other aspect of this is authenticity. Americans, we're hyper-capitalist, hyper-individualist, very entitled, not very smart. And for that reason, and you see this online all the time, the only way to signal authenticity online is by doing what? Being a fucking dickhead. Okay? Being honestly dishonest. Okay? Openly corrupt. That's what Trump does very well. He's like, listen, I'm a bad guy, but I'm your bad guy. I'm a bad guy, but I'm your bad guy. And that's precisely what plays really well online with a lot of kids. That's precisely what plays well with these guys who are also, kid-brained. Because people think that if you are nice, well, no one is nice. I'm a bad guy, so everyone else must be a bad guy too. I'm deeply insecure about how I behave. I'm a bad guy, so everyone else that is a bad guy is also real, just like me. That's it. In many respects, that's why the vice signaling works so well. That's why they think like Donald Trump is a more authentic and more genuine figure than Mike Pence. Mike Pence, to a fault, is a sociopathic zealot, okay? He believes in his shit. Donald Trump is very good at messaging and saying things that people want to hear, and is also very good at like crafting a narrative around his own personal grievances, as though these are grievances that impact the everyday Americans, especially those in the Republican Party. So just remember that. That's why I say it's all fucking vibes based.
Format doesn't allow the issues to be expounded on by each individual. The moderators had way too many subjects, and they had one or two people speaking on each subject. I think there are too many people in the debate, and I think that needs to be ironed out.
What a lot of these folks have told me today is they'd like to see microphones turned off at times. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you all for inviting us. And as you can see, in this room at least, here in the state of Iowa, a good night for DeSantis. Anderson.
Gary, thanks so much, and thank everybody in the room for us. Always fascinating to hear.
It is, and so you're listening to Iowa voters there. I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4. I've been in touch with some of the voters we're working with in Iowa and New Hampshire, and you get the same impression there in terms of The people who were for Haley going in were for Haley coming out. You see the reaction there with Gary's group. DeSantis doing okay, which is good for Haley and DeSantis, and it's better for Donald Trump because you keep the two people. If the potential breakout candidates are Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley, is there a third? No one, Ramaswamy maybe after the first debate, maybe he did come up some. But if they're all just trading, those votes back and forth, and Trump stays at high 30s or 40s, and in some polls he's around 50 in these states. So the question is, there's another debate in, I think it's 42 days or 41 days from now. Number one, can anybody start to pull away into a solo second place as opposed to a bunch? And then number two, you heard it from those voters there, A, how many qualify by the RNC rules? They're tougher for the third debate. And then B, do the donors and some other big people in the party start to saying, look, sorry, you three got to get out so that these four can stay in and fight Trump.
I think the Pences of the world, the Christies, even the Tim Scotts, I mean, the reaction in that room to those names.
Pretty brutal.
It was brutal. And they're not doing what they said they set out to do by being in the race. It really raises the question.
Tactically speaking, why don't they pull the Dems and consolidate with the one dude? Because Donald Trump is the Republican Party. Donald Trump is the Republican Party. The Republican Party is Trump's party. And the voters like Donald Trump more than they like anyone else. So even if there was a big push from institutional power in the Republican Party, those who want to continue the legacy of the Republican Party, those who want the party to continue thriving and ever winning power ever again, and they just backed one horse. I don't even know who that horse would be. Nikki Haley is a woman, so there is issues there in the eyes of the Republican base of support. Obviously, Ron DeSantis is fucking Ron DeSantis and is gross. He radiates nervousness and an energy that people just don't like. And as I've told you, it's all vibes-based to begin with. So you run into the issue of which horse to back. Okay. And then after which horse to back, you run into the issue of how that horse will be able to defeat Donald Trump. All of the rest of the fucking party consolidates behind one guy. They still don't meet Donald Trump. Donald Trump still wins in that situation. And now in the general, you pissed off a lot of fucking people who either wanted to not vote for Donald Trump and are pissed off that Donald Trump is a candidate, or people who wanted to vote for Donald Trump and are now pissed off. I mean, they'll still vote for Donald Trump, but there will be plenty of people who did not want to vote for Donald Trump and did everything they could and still lost, that will just go, oh, fuck this. I'm not voting then. Fuck you guys.
And what is the rationale going forward? And I think the voters in the Republican primary have been saying through the polls for a pretty long time, the folks in the low single digits, you're not seeing a whole lot of movement there, and yet they stay in the race for whatever their personal rationales are, and it's not really changing. You're seeing movement higher up, 5 and above, in the low teens. That's where all the action is. So for whatever that's worth, that may guide where this all goes.
Where was Obama 100 days out in Iowa? I mean, Trump has a lead way bigger than Hillary Clinton ever had. Trump has the biggest lead
he was
ever.
In the 20s.
He was in the 20s.
In fact, there was an ABC poll in late August that had him in the lead. He wasn't, but he was on the way. He was on the way up. But I would just say one thing: Christie's not running in Iowa, and you wouldn't expect him to do well with this group. He's putting his chips in New Hampshire. The latest New Hampshire polls show a bunch in second place with DeSantis,
10, 11,
with Haley. Christie and DeSantis. But the interesting thing about that, and I honestly think this, I think Donald Trump is in a very good position, and it's going to take a lot to dislodge him. The one thing that's interesting about Haley is she's competing in both Iowa and New Hampshire. she's actually well positioned in New Hampshire to do well. Maybe not to beat Trump, but she's moving up there. If she were to do well in Iowa, even if she doesn't win Iowa, you know, and I remember, this may even predate you, John, but in 1984, Gary Hart got 16% of the vote in Iowa. Walter Mondale, who was the runaway frontrunner, the former vice president, got 49, and Hart won New Hampshire. He catapulted out of there. He'd finished second. He won New Hampshire, and then it became a race. Now, Mondale ultimately won. I'm not predicting that's going to happen, but Haley, you know, there's a lot of interest in her. I think there'll continue to be a lot of interest in her after this debate.
She's also well.
Dude, if I'm Chris Christie and my co-hosts are talking shit about my prospects that I have been telling them for the past month or so, for the past couple of months at this point, that like that's where I'm gonna make my strike. I'd be pissed.